The final cut is a masterpiece, but the first draft is a war zone. This is between the frames. Darkness, the slow pull of a window blind. A man's voice, soft yet gravelly, speaks of friendship and favor. As the light grows, we see Don Vito Corleone sitting behind a desk, one hand gesturing gently, the other stroking a cat resting in his lap. This image, the juxtaposition of paternal tenderness with underworld power, has become one of the most iconic character introductions in cinema. But what if I told you that the cat, the very symbol of the Don's nuanced morality, was never supposed to be there? That Marlon Brando picked up a stray off the street minutes before the shot, and Francis Ford Coppola decided to roll with it. This is the story of how an unscripted moment defined a legendary performance and taught a masterclass in directorial intuition. The original script for The Godfather's opening scene was stark and word-heavy. Don Corleone was to be seated at his desk, listening to Bonacera's plea, with minimal movement, a static, powerful presence. There was no mention of an animal. The focus was entirely on the dialogue, on establishing the power dynamic through words alone. But Marlon Brando, ever the method actor, was burrowing deep into his character. He had already famously transformed his appearance, stuffing his cheeks with cotton for the screen test, and later with custom dental prosthetics, lowering his voice to a raspy whisper, and adopting a slow, deliberate physicality. He wasn't just playing a mob boss, he was inhabiting the soul of a weary patriarch. On the day of shooting, the atmosphere on the Paramount lot was electric with tension. Director Francis Ford Coppola was a young filmmaker under immense pressure. The studio, Paramount Pictures, was deeply skeptical of the project. They hated Brando's casting, they hated the period setting, and they were constantly threatening to fire Coppola. Every day was a battle to keep his vision intact. As the crew meticulously set up the lighting in the muted, mahogany-paneled office set, a stray cat, a common sight on studio lots back then, wandered in. It was a scruffy, grey and white cat, seemingly unfazed by the lights and cables. Brando, already in character as the Don, saw the cat, picked it up, sat down, and began petting it as if it had been his companion for years. The crew looked on, uncertain. Coppola, facing a tight schedule and relentless studio scrutiny, had a split-second decision to make: stick to the meticulously planned script, or embrace the unpredictable, chaotic beauty of the moment. He chose the latter. He called action, and cinematic history was made. The pivotal mechanism was Coppola's decision to trust the moment and Brando's instinct. This was more than just a director letting an actor improvise. It was an act of creative faith in the face of immense corporate pressure. The unplanned action by Brando was a stroke of genius. He didn't just hold the cat, he interacted with it naturally as Bonacera poured out his grief and rage. Brando would occasionally look down at the animal, stroking its fur, his attention divided. This simple act fundamentally shifted the power dynamic. It broke the direct eye contact with the desperate undertaker, making the Don seem even more powerful, more distracted by the simple comfort of an animal, as if Bonacera's plea was just one minor issue in a day full of them. This added an incredible layer of casual dominance to the scene. But this accidental genius immediately created a technical nightmare. The cat's purring was unexpectedly loud. It was a deep, resonant rumble that vibrated directly against the lapel microphone hidden on Brando's suit. When the sound editors listened to the dailies, they were horrified. The purring was so prominent that it muffled some of Brando's already quiet, mumbled dialogue. The initial, frantic solution was to loop the lines, later a process called ADR, where the actor re-records their dialogue in a studio, but Coppola refused. He insisted the purring stay. He understood that this organic, almost eerie sound added a layer of unsettling atmosphere. It was the sound of contentment amidst a conversation about brutal revenge. Then there was the visual component. The legendary cinematographer Gordon Willis, nicknamed the Prince of Darkness, used extremely low-key top-down lighting. Much of the frame was shrouded in shadow, with faces emerging from the gloom. In this dark, somber palette, the cat's white fur became one of the few bright spots in the frame, a beacon of soft texture. This visual contrast naturally drew the viewer's eye to the Don's hands, the very hands that could sign a death warrant, while simultaneously showing gentle compassion to a stray creature. The symbolism was instantaneous and profound. The cat served as a perfect metaphor for the Don's entire character. He was a protector of the vulnerable, like the cat, his family, and his community. But he was also a predator, the apex of a violent underworld. The cat embodies this duality. It's a soft, purring companion one moment, and a swift, silent killer the next. This single, unplanned prop provided instant character depth that pages of dialogue never could. This unscripted choice had a profound ripple effect that shaped not just the film, but the legacy of character-driven filmmaking. Most importantly, it cemented the collaborative, instinctual relationship between Brando and Coppola. In an environment where the studio was trying to sow division, this moment of shared creative trust became a cornerstone of their work. It validated Coppola's belief in letting his actors explore and inhabit their roles, setting the tone for the rest of the famously chaotic but artistically brilliant production. Without that trust, we might never have gotten the other iconic improvisations that defined the film. The symbolic weight of the cat cannot be overstated. Film scholars and critics have since written volumes about it. It's analyzed in film schools as a masterclass in subtext. The cat represents the Don's dual nature, his quiet, domestic side, juxtaposed with his ruthless brutality. It visually communicates the central theme of the film, the tangled relationship between family and business, love and violence. For the audience, the effect was magnetic. It made Don Corleone feel human, complex, and dangerously unpredictable from the very first scene. We aren't just told he's a powerful man. We feel it in his casual, divided attention. We see his capacity for tenderness, which makes his capacity for violence all the more terrifying. This emotional grip is a key reason why the film remains so powerful. And what of the unsung hero of this story? The cat itself became a piece of film history. Its fate after the shoot is officially unknown. Legend has it that it was just one of many strays on the Paramount lot and likely went back to its life of wandering, oblivious to its stardom. But for those few days of shooting, it was the most important actor on set. The lesson here is a competitive one. Many directors, especially a young one under fire, would have feared the deviation. They would have seen an unplanned animal as a liability, a source of noise, a distraction. Coppola's flexibility, his courage to say yes to the unexpected, demonstrated that the greatest filmmaking often happens between action and cut, in the unscripted space where actors truly live inside their characters. The legacy of this moment is a powerful, actionable principle for any creative endeavor. Embrace the happy accident. Coppola went into that scene with a plan, a script, and a vision. But he understood that filmmaking is a collision of meticulous planning and beautiful chaos. The cat wasn't a distraction, it was a gift from the universe, an unexpected opportunity to deepen the story. For creators in any field, whether you're a filmmaker, a writer, a designer, or an entrepreneur, the lesson is invaluable. Be prepared, but leave room for spontaneity. Your best ideas might not be in your outline. The most authentic, memorable moments often come from unplanned interactions, from trusting the talent in the room, human or feeling them, from having the courage to deviate from the blueprint when a flash of magic happens. The plan is the runway, but inspiration is what allows you to take flight. What other film scenes that you love were transformed by an on-set accident or a brilliant improvisation? Share them in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to Between the Frames.